I believe that a lot of conservatives, once they know his position on those things that you delineated, they're going to not be able to support him. So I think that that is absolutely a liability for him if he gets in the race.
You don't really mean this, though, do you, Mr.
Oh, yes, I do.
Sharia law in the United States?
Some people would infuse Sharia law in our court system if we allow it. I honestly believe that. So even if he calls me crazy, I am going to make sure that they don't infuse it little by little by little. It's not going to be some grand scheme little by little. So I don't mind if he calls me crazy.
If Governor Christie decides to run, I wish him luck. I think that there is a bit of a caution. It always, the swimming pool looks a lot better until you jump right in. Water may not be quite as warm as you think.
Michael Kinsley, the columnist, wrote the other day that Chris Christie cannot be president because, and I'll just quote what he said, because he's too fat. Do you think that's a fair thing to say?
Obviously, you're addressing that question to me, not Governor O'Malley, who's never had a double chin. You know, when somebody becomes very well known, those sort of superficial things become non-issues. But at first blush, you know, what do they say? You only get one chance to make a first impression. And clearly, when you see somebody like me on television in comparison to somebody like Martin, you know, he probably gets the first swing out of the box.
He's an extraordinary communicator. He's a great governor. I just think whoever's going to get in needs to do it immediately. We got 90 days till the caucuses start in Iowa, and I think Chris is probably feeling that pressure to make a decision immediately. I think that says a lot about the fact that there's optimism about winning in 2012. I'd be surprised at this point if he got it.
My reaction is that's just very insensitive. That isn't a more vile, negative word than the N-word, and for him to leave it there as long as he did before I hear that they finally painted over it, it's just plain insensitive. First of all, I believe I'm going to get a third, because a third of the black people in this country, at least, are thinking for themselves. Now, the fact that they say that that word is insensitive, that's not as insensitive as the President of the United States standing in front of a major black audience, the Congressional Black Caucus, and scolding them because his policies have failed the country, his policies have failed black people. That's more insensitive, that's more insulting to me, rather than me using the term brainwashed. It's traditional, and that's all well and good. But I happen to believe that there comes a time when you need to change the mood of it just a little bit, not drastically, but change it just a little bit. I think Hail to the Chief needs a little bit fresher sound.
So, hip-hop?
It won't be hip-hop. I might put some gospel beats into the Hail.
I think it was a very good strike. I think it was justified. The thing I'm waiting for is for the administration to go back and correct something they said 2 years ago, when they criticized us for, quote, overreacting to the events of 9/11. I think they need to go back and reconsider what the president said when he was in Cairo.
The Justice Department should release that memo. But I think the debate about the legal grounds for that strategy should be more in the open, and we should have a legal framework around our interrogation and detention policies far more than we do right now.
Well, I think the decision that's been made with respect to allowing gays to serve openly in the military is a good one. I think it's the right thing to do. I'm a little bit leery of the notion that somehow we ought to go hammer the Republican candidates because they didn't respond to booing on the audience. When you're in the political campaign and debates, you know, people boo a lot of things, and I'm not sure that it was all focused specifically on that particular issue.
I do, but a lot of times you know, when you're in a debate, you're thinking about what you're going to say and what the question is going to be. It's hard to react sometimes. So, but I'm sure that I would bet that every Republican on that stage did not agree with that kind of behavior.
I happen to think that maybe they were booing the whole don't ask, don't tell repeal more so than booing that soldier.
We'll see what happens. Right now I'm focused on hosting the 6th grade potluck dinner at my house and chaperoning field trips, but it's something that I have a lot of respect for people who do, and I may take a look at it down the road.